Hello to everyone. My name is D. Sandeep. I am working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Information Technology of MLR Institute of Technology. In previous class, we completed the discussion on class methods, class variables, instance methods, static variables, static method. So these are all the static members, instance members and class members, and how we can access the instance variables and instance method, as well as how we can access the static method, as well as how we can access the class method. And also we seen the differences between the instance method, class method, static method. And now we are discussing about that inheritance concept. With that, what are the benefits of Python inheritance and the types of inheritance. In the types of inheritance, we are going to discuss about that single inheritance and multiple or multi-level inheritance. First, we will see what is an inheritance. Simply, we can say inheritance is one of the most important concept in object-oriented programming. Because of, if you see what are the principles of object-oriented programming means, we can say class, object, inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation, abstraction, right? So here, among that one, we completed what is the class and what is an object. Now we are in inheritance concept. So inheritance is one of the very important concept which we can refers in the polymorphism concept also, right? Anyway, it is one of the important aspect of object-oriented programming language which simulates the real-world concept of inheritance, right? Next, what is an inheritance means? Simply we can say a class to inherit or acquire properties of another class. That means, for example, there are two classes. There are two classes A and B. Now, if you consider, if the B wants to access, if B or class B wants to access the properties and behavior of class A, then these two classes has to be in a relationship, that is inheritance relationship, which we can say parent-child relationship. What we can say? Parent-child relationship. Whenever class A and class B having parent-child relationship, then there is a possible that child class B can access the properties and behavior of class A. So this is about inheritance. Simply, what is an inheritance means? The child class inherits the features or functions of the parent class and the inherited attributes, that means methods or properties. So that means the child class inherits the features, functions, variables, methods of the parent class. That is called inheritance concept. Next, a new class is inherited by inheriting features from an existing class. That means, so here A is an existing class, A is existed class and B is a new class. Now, whenever we make the relationship between the A and B, now the new class B is accessing the features or properties and behavior the existing class A. So that is the statement here. Next, the class which acquires property is called the child class or derived class. So that means the child class is also known as derived class, or we can also known as subclass. Next, the class from which the properties are derived. That means the class which the properties or behavior inherits to the child class, that is called parent class, or we can say base class, or we can say superclass, right? So finally, what is an inheritance means? Accessing or acquiring the properties and behavior of parent class by child class. That is called inheritance concept, and the child class is also known as derived class, subclass. Next, parent class is also known as base class, parent class, or we can say super class. This is about what? Inheritance. Now, what is the benefits of the Python inheritance means? So the benefits of Python, main benefit of inheritance is reusability of the code. That means it allows, see here, the first statement here is it allows code reusability. That means once you write the code, then no need to write the code again and again. The same code we can reuse. So that benefit can do through this Python inheritance concept. That means here inheritance is, next advantage is inheritance is transitive, which means if X class acquires the features of class Y, then all the subclasses of X will automatically inherit from class 5. For example, see, there is an X, and so from X the properties and behavior is accessed by the child class. Then whatever the child class of Y, that all the child classes of Y will also get the properties and behavior of this X class. Indirectly. That is, inheritance is a transitive. Okay, next. It is based on the real world concept of inheritance. Now here see, parent and child class. So child inherit qualities from parent. Similarly, child class access or inherits the properties, that means the variables and methods from the parent class. Next, it enables you, if you want to add more features to the class, then you can also do it without changing the parent class. Then through child class you can change the or modify or add the features of the application. That is possible using inheritance concept. Now, how many types of inheritance means here? Totally 7 types of inheritance. One is single inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, multiple inheritance, hybrid inheritance, cyclic inheritance. One is single inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, multiple inheritance, hybrid inheritance, cyclic inheritance. First, now see, how can we create the parent-child relationship? Means, this is the syntax: class and the child class name, and within the parenthesis, that is the parent class name. For example, class B and then A. So this is the parent, so this is the relationship which we can create. Okay, next, first we'll see the single inheritance. So single inheritance means only one class is inherits from the parent class. Okay, one class inherits from the parent class. So that is called single inheritance. That means only one class are going to access the properties and behavior of from the parent class. That is called single inheritance. Only one child class will be there. Right? Or one parent class will be there. That is called single inheritance concept. Now see here, like an example. So test is there. One class is there, that is test class. Now in the test class we define M1 method, which is the instance method. And in this instance method, what we did here is we define a variable, that is instance variable, and also printing the instance variable value. After then we are going to define the another class, that is test1. Now the test class and test1 class are going to make the relationship. The test class and test1 class are going to make the relationship. That means, how we are going to make the relationship means just test1 and then test. Test1 and test. Now within that child class also we define one instance method, and within this instance method we initialize one instance variable, that is variable name is B, and we are going to print. Now here, which class object we have to create to access all class methods? That means, see here, that class test properties will, in the class test, how many methods are there? Only one method is there. Coming to this class test1, how many methods are there? 2 methods will be there. In class test, how many methods are there? Only one method, that is M1 method. In class test1, how many methods are there? 2 methods are there. What are the 2 methods means? M1 method and M2 method. Why? Because the test1 are accessed this M1 method from the test class to this class. So that's why the test1 class contain how many methods? 2 methods. That's why we have to create the object of test1 class, and through this test1 class object we are able to access the M1 method also. Not only that M2 method, we can also access the M1 method. So let's see an example. Okay, so class test, now instance method, right? So self dot a equals to 10, and I'm going to print that. Similarly here class test1 and making the relationship between the test class and test1 class, and M2 method, this is also instance method. So self dot b equals to 20, now print self dot b. Now by using test1 class object, we are able to access the M1 method and M2 method. First let me create the test1 class object. Now t dot M1 method and t dot M2 method. Here dot operator consider as calling operation. Okay, calling operation. Now see, right? I save this. Now here, what is the output? 10 and 20. Because of in M1 method, what is the variable? A. The value A is 10, and in test1 class of M2 method is what? B, and B value is 20. So that is what about how we are going to access the child class from parent class, which is single inheritance type. Next, multi-level inheritance. So multi-level inheritance is nothing but what? There are the derived class inheritance properties from the immediate base class, which inherits the characters from another parent class. In other words, the derived class inherits from another derived class. That means this is A. Now the A is parent class of B, and B is parent class of C. That means C is derived class of B and B is derived class of A. Now the properties of A will come to B, and the properties and behavior, the properties of A and B will come to C. Okay, the properties and behavior of class A will access by B, and the properties and behavior of class A and class B will access by C. So let me see an example. This is a class test. Now M1 method as usual, that is instance method. Now class test1. So this class test1 and class test are making the relationship, that is parent child relationship. That means now the test1 is the child class and test is the parent class. So in the child class also M2 method is there, and that is instance method. Through this instance method we define the variable B. Next, test2 class, and this test2 class is the child class of test1. See, right? So this is thing. Now the test class properties and behavior and these test1 class properties and behavior are able to access by the test2 class. That's why here see, if you observe here, test2 class object are accessed that M1 method, M2 method, M3 method. That means all class methods. Okay, so let me through an example. Okay, so class test, so def M1 self, now self dot A equals to 10, same self dot A. Similarly, now class test and making the relationship to test1 class and test, as test1 class is the child class and test is the parent class. Now def M2 self. Similarly, self dot B equals to 20. Now print self dot B. Next, class test2 and then test1. So now the test2 class is the child class. To whom? test1 class. Now def m3 self parameter. Now self dot c equals to 30. Then print self dot c. Now which class object we have to create? test2 class. Now t equals to test2. Now t dot m1 method, t dot m2 method, t dot m3 method. Okay, now see, right, 10, 20, 30, right? So m1 is, so 10 value is test class of m1 method, and 20 value is from test1 class of m2 method, and 30 is the last, that is the test2 class of m3 method. So here the test1 is the child class of whom? Test class, and test2 class is the child class of test1, right? So this is about what? Multi-level inheritance. That means this class properties and behavior will be accessed by the test1 class, and now the test class properties and behavior as well as test1 class properties and behavior will be accessed by the test2 class. Test2 class, it means it is similarly like that one. See, grandfather, father, and then son. So this is the, like this one, this is the multi-level inheritance concept. Okay, right. Now finally, the child class inherit features from the parent class. The child class inherit features from their parent class. That means the child class are getting the features or behavior or properties from their parent class, and the features they inherit here termed as properties and methods. Features here is nothing but what? Properties and methods. Next, the concept of inheriting the properties from one class to another class is known as, that means one class to and one class is called single inheritance class. One class to another one class, that is called single inheritance. Next, the concept of inheriting the properties for multiple classes to single class with the concept of one after another. With the concept of, so this is the main thing, one after another. Here you don't confuse here. Multiple classes means again we say multiple inheritance or hierarchical inheritance. But here here we have to see one after another. That is known as multi-level inheritance concept. Right. So this is about what? Inheritance concept, as well as the examples and how we are going to making the relationship, that is parent-child relationship. After then we discuss the types of inheritance, that is single inheritance and multi-level inheritance. Next we will discuss another types of inheritance. Thank you.